Hi there, Alex here at mixinglessons.com. In this video, we're going to talk about phantom power, what it is, when you need to use it, and also some best practices when you're using it. Before we dive in, if you want to get a head start with your music production, head over to mixinglessons.com/free-downloads and download your free EQ cheat sheet, your free compression cheat sheet, and your free vocal recording guide. Okay, so if you're looking at your interface, then you're probably going to see either a button or an LED that's going to say something like 48V on it, which stands for 48 volts. And if it's a button, that will mean that you can turn on phantom power. If it's an LED, that will give you an indication of whether phantom power is turned on or off. And so what is phantom power? Well, 48 volt phantom power is a means of sending power from your audio interface or your mixing desk or your preamp to a piece of equipment which requires power to function. For us in home studios, the most common piece of equipment that's going to require phantom power is a condenser microphone. But there are also some other things. Some DI boxes require phantom power to operate. And so whether it's a microphone or a DI box, you'll have that connected to your interface via an XLR cable. And when you switch phantom power on, then power will be sent from your audio interface to the mic or to the DI box, allowing it to operate and function. So which microphones should you use phantom power with and which should you not use phantom power with? Well, as we've already established, condenser microphones do need phantom power. And so if you're setting up to record and you've plugged a condenser microphone in and you're not getting any signal, usually the first thing I would check is, have I turned the phantom power on or not? And 9 times out of 10, that's the reason that there's no signal coming through, because I haven't turned on phantom power. There are also some active ribbon mics that require phantom power to operate. Dynamic microphones, on the other hand, and passive ribbon mics don't require phantom power. So a signal will go to your interface from the mic without having phantom power turned on. Now, something you might have noticed is that with most interfaces, you can't turn phantom power on channel by channel. You'll turn it on globally for all of the channels. So what do you do in an instance where you're using one condenser mic which requires phantom power and you're maybe using a dynamic mic at the same time which doesn't require phantom power? Well, with the vast majority of newer dynamic mics and even ribbon mics, the vast majority of them are designed to accept 48 volt phantom power despite not requiring it to function. And their ability to handle phantom power will usually be stated in the manual, so you can double check if you're concerned. Now, that said, when it comes to older vintage ribbon mics and even some older dynamic mics, sending phantom power to them when they don't require it could damage them. So if you have older mics or vintage mics, I would advise that you do a little bit of research first into that microphone to make sure that it's absolutely safe to connect that microphone if you're going to be using phantom power at the same time to power other mics that do require it. But as I say, with the majority of modern mics, they are designed to accept phantom power even if they don't require it. Also, one more little bit of best practice when it comes to working with phantom power. Always make sure that the phantom power is turned off before you connect the microphone. And then also make sure that you've switched phantom power off before you disconnect the microphone. So rather than switching phantom power on and then plugging the mic in, or unplugging the microphone with phantom power still turned on, make sure that phantom power is off, plug the mic in, then switch phantom power on to use the mic. Then when you want to disconnect the mic, make sure that you turn the phantom power off first before taking the mic out. This is a best practice which will protect your microphones, your speakers, and also your hearing. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel for future videos. And don't forget to go over to mixinglessons.com/free-downloads to download your free EQ cheat sheet, your free compression cheat sheet, and your free vocal recording guide. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.